Can you hear my, is there any disturbance? Yeah, yeah, you're here. Any volunteer, please update me so that I can start.
सर आवाज नहीं आ रही थी। सर आवाज नहीं आ रही।
Is there still
Yes, sir, it's still not. We can't hear you, sir.
in that case we need to wait for a little time and then we will start.
Okay, sir,
Maybe
no
there is
problem.
an internet connectivity issue.
Yes, sir, now
Saqib
it's.
bhai, good morning. You are still sleeping.
Assalamu alaikum, sir.
You are
Good
still
morning.
sleeping. Is it true?
No, sir, I just had breakfast. I'm now okay.
Is it okay now?
Yes, sir, it's okay now.
So you have decided for the course of medical parasitology. Please tell me why you have decided for this course.
Actually, sir, after reading the immunology course, we thought it's relating to parasitology as
No,
well.
वो दूसरी बात नहीं. Exactly parasites के बारे में बात करें. Nothing else.
Because, sir, the course is related to other subjects we have read yet. So we want to continue the way we have been doing yet.
Okay. Can you define what is the parasite?
Parasite actually, sir, which uh, takes food and shelter in host of other organisms.
And if I stress your definition that parasite is an organism that lives in or on another organism and ultimately harms the organism, in that case, all the viruses, all the bacteria, all those fungi that are pathogenic, they all must be considered as parasites. And during your third semester, maybe you have a separate course of medical microbiology in which you discuss all those viruses and bacteria. But they haven't told you anything about the parasites. So if we strictly rely on the definition that parasites are the organisms that live in or on another organism and ultimately harm their host, in that case, we must need to include all those viruses, bacteria, fungi as well. And to the best of my knowledge, what we learn in our modern parasitology, we do not discuss viruses, we do not discuss bacteria, we do not discuss fungi. Rather, we restrict ourselves to the eukaryotic organisms. And all those eukaryotic organisms within it, I will going to exclusively mention that, okay, we discuss animal like protozoan parasites, and then we move all those parasites that are actually animals, whether they are platyhelminths, they are nematodes, they are cystids, they are arthropods, so they are all animals. Other than these, one exception exists that are animal like protozoans that are from the kingdom. So in modern parasitology, we include only those as parasites which are either from kingdom Animalia or kingdom Protista. Why? Either, can you hear me clearly?
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Now please answer.
Sir, parasite basically may have those specialized structures.
What do you think? Bacteria do not have a specialized structure. I'm not teaching microbiology, but bacteria definitely have the specialized structures that enable the bacteria to invade the host. So it's not about the speciality of the structures. I will want to give you another scenario. Maybe that will facilitate your understanding that normally in a pregnant woman, you have either the fetus or the embryo inside the body of the woman. So in that case, the fetus or the embryo is getting its food from the mother. Do you consider the fetus as parasite? Because it lives in the body of another organism.
No, sir.
Why?
सर क्योंकि वो अपनी माँ को नुकसान तो नहीं पहुंचाता ना।
Sir, वो harm नहीं करता।
Okay, please continue. I am listening. Please continue. You want to explain something? Are you listening? Is there any distortion in my voice or you are unable to hear me? Please confirm.
No, sir, we can hear you, but the problem is in your question that we can't understand or answer it at the moment.
So I presented couple of scenarios. Now I want to add one thing more. That when we talk about the damage to the host. Yes.
सर बेबी नहीं हो सकता पैरासाइट क्योंकि वो दोनों जो है वो सेम ऑर्गेनिजम्स हैं, क्योंकि पैरासाइट होते हैं वो डिफरेंट ऑर्गेनिजम्स होते हैं, लेकिन ये सेम है और ये मॉम को जो है आगे से हार्म भी नहीं पहुंचाएगा। इसलिए
Your first explanation is absolutely perfect. That for a parasite to become a parasite, it must need to be from another species. You cannot have the host and the parasite both belonging to the same species. So in case of pregnant woman, the fetus and the mother, they are of same species. So they cannot be parasite. But the second part of your explanation is that it's always compulsory for a parasite to cause a disease. No, it's not compulsory. In the definition, we use the word damage. That parasites are organisms that live in or on another organism and they damage. What do we mean by the damage? That sometimes they cause the disease. There are certain parasites that causes a very serious diseases like malaria is the most prominent example. But there are certain parasites that do not cause a specific disease or they do not cause a significant pathology. But on the other hand, they are still damaging their host. They are damaging their host by depriving the host from nutrients. So I want to give you an example that if you, in your GI tract, if you carry few parasites, in that case, you will not have any sign or symptom of a disease. But still what happens that when you take in the food, those parasites, they simply line your GI tract, more specifically in the small intestine, and they will going to absorb all those nutrients. So in this scenario, the parasites, they are damaging you, not by causing the disease, but rather they deprive you from the nutrients. And actually you are, whatever attempt you make, you do all those struggles to take in the food and ultimately you are not feeding yourself. Rather you are feeding the parasites that are in your body. So that itself is a damage because the host ultimately leads to the malnutrition. So damage is not restricted to the disease. Maybe in certain conditions, it deprives the host from the nutrients. So do not relate the damage with disease all the time. So why viruses, why bacteria, why fungi? We do not include them in our approach. Because according to the definition, they absolutely fall in the criteria that okay, they live in or on another organism. If you look at the viruses, bacteria, fungi, and they damages their host, no issue regarding this. So by definition, they all must be considered as parasite. But problem that if we rely on only this definition of parasites, that will be a very, very broad field. And it will be very, very difficult to accommodate every organism within parasites. So for our convenience, we just split it the field. As regards the viruses, as far as the bacteria are concerned, as far as the fungi are concerned, we discuss them in a separate field. We name it as the medical microbiology or microbiology. If it is restricted to the human, we use the word medical to this. And then when we use the term parasite, we restrict ourselves to only eukaryotic organisms. But as far as the fungi are concerned, definitely they are eukaryotic. So for your understanding, you must need to know that we consider eukaryotic organisms, but eukaryotic organisms only from two kingdoms. One is the kingdom Protista, in which we have the parasites. The prominent example is the Plasmodium parasite, Leishmania parasite, and all those Trypanosoma parasites. So Giardia parasite, these are all examples in which the kingdom is the kingdom Protista. The second kingdom is kingdom Animalia, where you have the three phylums of parasite. One is the phylum Platyhelminths, second is the phylum Nematodes, and third one is the phylum Arthropods. So for our convenience, it becomes very easy that if we restrict the parasites to only those, either they are from kingdom Protista or they are from kingdom Animalia. But if you look at the definition, all those viruses, all those bacteria, all those viruses, they seem that okay, they also seems to very similar like parasites, but we have a separate field for them. So we do not consider them as parasites. Rather, we discuss them in a separate field. We name it as the microbiology. Maybe it's a veterinary microbiology or medical microbiology. Is it clear now? Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So now I want to ask you another basic question, that what do you think? Is it an adaptation to become a parasite, or free living life is an adaptation? So just considering all those concepts of evolution, so organisms, they adapted. So you consider parasitism as an adaptation, or free living life is an adaptation?
So being a parasite is more convenient to all those kingdom Animalia organism as well as Protista kingdom organisms. So being parasite is more like natural phenomena, and living freely is adaptation, in my opinion.
If we believe all those concepts of evolution, what we have understanding regarding the evolution, that what we believe is that initially every organism was free living. So when life was started, initially every organism was free living, and later on those free living organisms, they switched to parasitic mode of life. And not every organism is able to become a parasite. Only few organisms, they able to adapt themselves and they switch to the parasitic way of life. But initially every organism was a free living. When the life started on earth, the organisms, they were free living. They were not parasites of each other. Do you agree with this? That is a concrete concept of evolution.
Yes, sir.
That life started as free living, and later on some organisms, they switch to the parasitic mode of life. So if we believe in that concept of evolution, in that case, what we do have a concept that some of those free living organisms, they switch themselves to the parasitic mode of life. That means parasitism is an adaptation. That initially an organism was free living and later on it switched to the parasitic mode of life, and that's why it becomes an adaptation. So organisms, they adapted themselves to become parasite. So what's the advantage to become a parasite? Because when we talk about the adaptation, it always favors the organism. So what's the advantage to become a parasite? Why they left their free living life and become a parasite?
सर पैरासाइटिज्म के जरिए से वो होस्ट से फूड ले सकते हैं, फ्री लिविंग उनके लिए थोड़ा डिफिकल्ट होगा, और शेल्टर उनको मिल जाता है.
Yes, I agree with your explanation that when organisms, they were free living, they have to look for their food. They were in a competition with other organisms. Secondly, they were exposed to harsh environment. And they were more and more vulnerable to those environmental fluctuations. So some of those organisms, they adapted themselves to become a parasite, and that gives them a huge advantage. The first advantage is that inside the body of host, they have a controlled environment. What do I mean by this? That you as a free living organism is experiencing all those changes in the climatic conditions. I mean, at present, I am staying at a good place where I do not have any lots and lots of heat. And all those my clients that are from Mirpur or Bimber, they are experiencing, okay, it's too hot. experience to a very harsh condition. So after experiencing harsh climatic condition, the parasites that are in your body is increasing. You are assess either through sweating, either just looking for some shade from sun, or doing anything, you are just maintaining your body temperature at 37 degrees centigrade. So, as a free-living organism, you are exposed to environmental fluctuations, but the parasites that are in your body are experiencing air conditioning. Their body temperature, their environment, those who are living in your body, their temperature is almost the same, 37 degrees centigrade. That is ideal for them. They are not experiencing that heat. Same is true in case of winter. So first big, huge advantage to become a parasite is that it becomes the responsibility of the host to maintain those environmental conditions. And they do not see any fluctuation. And when they do not see any fluctuation in the environment, that gives them an opportunity for the optimum growth and reproduction. Secondly, free-living organisms need to search for their food. Once some organisms manages to adapt to some, to develop some specialist structure, and then they adapt to become a parasite, they will get plenty of food without any competition. The hosts look for the resources, look for the food, taking the food, and ultimately in certain, even it digests the food. So just give yourself a little bit time and think that you are not only providing the food to your parasites, but also digesting it. And what they get is digested, clear food and plenty of food, and they do not have any issue regarding. That's why to become a parasite is an adaptation. Although moving towards the parasitic mode of life exposes the parasite to certain challenges. So it has to do some adaptation to cope with those challenges. The biggest challenge is that no organism in this wants to be enslaved by the parasite. So host is definitely going to resist. So parasite has to develop some specialistic characters to escape from the host defenses. That's why those free-living organisms, they specialize themselves, adapt, and then they become parasite. So once they overcome that challenge, then they have a really suitable environment for them to live. Now I want to ask you another question. These are all baseline questions before starting this idea about them. What do you think? Parasites are supposed to be killed? What's your answer?
सर आपने क्या क्वेश्चन पूछा है?
Is there any distortion in one? What's your
Sir,
opinion
आपकी
that
आवाज नहीं आ रही।
parasite wants to kill their host or not?
सर आवाज कट रही है आपकी।
Okay, we need to for 1 minute, maybe it's the internet down. Can you hear me properly now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now I want to ask you a question that what do you think? Parasite wants to kill their host?
सर रिपीट करें क्वेश्चन।
क्या हुआ? What happened? Is there still
सर
distortion?
रिपीट कर दें।
क्या आ रही है? आवाज क्लियर नहीं आ रही।
सर आवाज भी खराब होगी आपकी।
Okay. Can you hear me now? Is it clear? Is it clear now?
यस सर।
sir.
Yes, sir.
So, please answer me. What do you think? Parasite wants to kill their host?
नो सर, अगर वो अपने होस्ट को किल करेंगे तो फिर उन्हें दोबारा से एक रिलायबल होस्ट चाहिए होगा जिस पे वो इंतजार करेंगे अपने फूड शेल्टर के लिए, तो वो अपने होस्ट को किल नहीं करेंगे।
Yes. One fraction of your explanation is correct. That parasite, they do not want to kill their host. But the second part is that they will look for another shelter. It's very, very rare that parasite, they leave their host. In
Yes.
majority of the cases, the parasites, they do not leave their host. So if the host will die, the parasite inside the host, they will also experience the death. That's why the parasite, they do not want to kill their host. Maybe you are confused that why, how it is possible that parasite, they do not leave their host. I want you to think on only one prominent example, that you are all familiar with the fasciola parasite. Is it true?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So
No.
can you hear me clearly? Is there any distortion in my voice?
सर खराब होती है फिर ठीक हो जाती है।
Okay. So accept my apologies, but from next week I will try my best to look for some another internet source. But today you have to continue with this. I do not have any other option. So accept my apologies. So if you think about the fasciola parasite, you take in the fasciola parasite in their developmental form, and the most specific developmental form is the metacercaria. So once the metacercaria enters in your body, it develops into an adult parasite. And the fasciola parasite, it lives in your liver. That adult fasciola parasite never leaves you for the rest of its life. Rather, the eggs, the next generation, they come out of your body. But the original parasite, it never leaves you. And when the host will die, the parasite themselves will die. Either you kill the parasite through drugs, or it will die living its lifespan, or host. There are three possible situations. That host will die, and with the death of the host, the parasite itself will die. That's why it's very, very risky for a parasite, because death of a host leads to the death of parasite. So parasites, they do not want to kill their host. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
So now we will move to the course objectives. In this course, our main objective is to give you a comprehensive understanding of the parasites of medical significance. So although you have parasites that infect or infest other animals as well. There are so many parasites that infect the livestock, that there are certain parasites that infect the wildlife. So as far as this course is concerned, we have a restricted mandate. We're going to discuss only those parasites that has medical significance, that are significant to human beings. So I will try my best to give you a comprehensive understanding of parasites of medical significance. Second, in order to treat anything, the first step is always to diagnose that thing. So in this course, we will going to train you to carry out the differential diagnosis of parasitic disease of humans. So you can just separate that disease, you can diagnose it, and you can differentiate it from every other disease. So that's another objective. The third objective is to give you a very clear understanding of their basic morphology and life cycles of parasites. Because most of the time, the parasites, they have a complicated life cycle. So it involves the developmental stages that are different from the adult parasite. And then one very important thing is the transmission. So in this course, we're going to give you a clear idea that how various parasitic diseases they got transmitted. There are different modes of transmission. Some have a direct mode of transmission, some have an indirect mode of transmission. Indirect mode of transmission means sometimes they have another host involved that acts as an intermediate host. And then, as far as your practical trainings is concerned, we're going to discuss various tests that are used in diagnosis of parasitic diseases. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So the word parasite. So we're going to discuss some basic terminology so that you do not have any problem in the future lectures. So the word parasite comes from the word parasitism. Parasitism is a symbiotic association. We use the word symbiosis, where two organisms, they live in two. Is it clear now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So the word symbiosis, we use the word symbiosis as that when two organisms they live in close association. But the one thing that those two organisms they must be from two different species. So in nature, the organisms they live in close association with each other. Sometimes one live in or on another organism, and the other organism is most of the time is a free living organism. So those association of two organisms of two different species that is in close association, we use the word symbiosis for them. There are 4 types of symbiotic association that exist in this universe. The most simplest form of symbiotic association is the phoresis. What do we mean by
सर क्या नाम बताया simplest?
phoresis is क्या हुआ?
सर आपने क्या नाम बताया simplest form का?
Please, there is distortion in your voice. Please repeat. Accept my apologies. This is my internet connection. Please repeat. ये मेरी साइड से है मेरा इंटरनेट ऑन I do not have a very good internet access. Please repeat your question.
सर जो भी आपने
सर मैं
सर जो भी आपने बताया सिंपलेस्ट फॉर्म ऑफ सिम्बियोसिस उसका पूछ रही हैं कि आपने क्या पता है कौन सी है सिंपलेस्ट फॉर्म ऑफ सिम्बियोसिस?
That is phoresis. Number one. Phoresis means is my voice clear?
सर आपकी आवाज कट कट के आ रही है।
Sir, I'll accept my apology. I have poor internet connection. एक से मैसेज ही नहीं था कर रहे हैं।
There is lots of discussion in your voice, so I cannot. There is someone who has cell phone on vibration, so please mute your mic.
माइक्रोफोन
आवाज में कंटोर्शन है।
Continue. And also, the consequent relationship is the phoresis. Phoresis means traveling together. In kind of association, there is no physiology of biochemical dependence. Biochemical is that sometimes bacteria to the any takes the bacteria from one place to another place. So getting nothing from the side.
सर बिल्कुल कोई आवाज नहीं आ रही, बिल्कुल कोई आवाज नहीं आ रही, समझ नहीं आ रही, डिस्टॉर्शन है इतनी ज्यादा।
ताकि भाई याद करें तो लेसन में इंशाल्लाह हो जाएगा।
जी सर, जरूर जरूर।
सर जहाँ से आपने टर्मिनोलॉजी स्टार्ट किया वहां से आगे कुछ समझ नहीं आया।
तो जहाँ आप पहले बैठे हुए थे वहीं बैठे रहे ना।
सर क्या आपके लिए पॉसिबल है कि सिर्फ आप अपना लेक्चर हमें रिकॉर्ड करके सेंड कर दिया करें?
It's possible for me, but not how to do this. And I will do something with the internet connectivity. Hopefully, next lecture you will not have any problem.
नहीं ऐसे समझ नहीं आएगी जस्ट रिकॉर्ड्स।
Okay, we're going to try next week and then I will do something. Is it clear? Can you hear me? Is it Is there still disruption?
सर मीरपुर में आ जाए।
Can you hear me?
सर जब आप पूछते हैं तब क्लियर आ रही होती है, वैसे कोई नहीं आती।
Is it clear now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I was telling me that my internet is poor quality. So we're going to continue from here in our next lecture. Is it clear?
Okay, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Bye-bye.
सुबील तुमने कुछ लिखा या साकिब?
मैंने तो कोई नहीं लिखा। सबिल ने शायद लिखा हो, वो लिखता होता है।
साकिब पता हो सर घर पर है या इधर मीरपुर है?
सर रवला कोट है।
सुबील पंखा ऑफ करो।
सबिल ये क्या कर रहे हो?
फिर लगता है सर मेरी तरह किसी पहाड़ी पे बैठे होंगे।
कह रहा है बड़े पहाड़ों पे चढ़ रहे हो, उधर है घर में कोई नहीं सर्विस?
नहीं घर पे तो नहीं है सर्विस।
चल कोई नहीं, ये भी याद आएंगे दिन।
बहुत
पहाड़ा पर
ज्यादा है।
सॉन्ग लाइव नहीं।
साथ वाले है ना जो उन्होंने लगाया है।
और जिन बलाच मूड सी ये पहाड़ा पर गाना लाई बैठा हुआ है।
अल्लाह हाफिज।
ओके, अल्लाह हाफिज, बाय बाय।